I know,
Like
yeah.
we've broken in.
Yeah. Yeah. Does Chris know that we're here, Ben?
I hope so.
So
we had to go in through the tradesman's entrance as well.
Gary was very comfortable with that. But just for context, like Chris is not here today, so Ben's here, who works with Chris, who's obviously going to do a sterling job in his absence. Actually, Chris refers to you as his Ben, doesn't he? Like that's when he talks about it in conversation. He always says my Ben.
Yeah.
I wanted to know, Gary. Question for you. It's not ChatGPT this week, but when people talk about me, do you refer to me as your Ben or my Ben?
Yeah, or the Ben.
Oh, not my Ben. I think
yeah, you are my Ben.
Yeah, I quite like that.
But then I don't know that many Bens, to be honest.
Yeah.
So.
Just wondered on the way down. I thought, am I Gary's Ben?
Yeah, I do get more and more like, where's Ben? Messages. I do get it through my Instagram more than anything.
Yeah,
They expect us to be together 24/7. Like, where's Ben?
Yeah, people ask me a lot about you.
Don't know.
Yeah. People ask me about you
not to
more
ruin
than
the
they ask
illusion,
about
but
me.
we're not filming once a week, everyone.
And we don't live together.
Yeah, we don't live together yet.
Not yet. We haven't told Charlotte and we haven't told Kirsty, have we? So
yeah. Once we get chucked out and we're like single in a flat, you're like men behaving badly.
So it will make it easier to film. We can probably do a few every day, can't we?
Yeah.
It's just whether we retain the audience.
Yeah.
So yeah, Chris is not here today. He's got a better offer, basically, hasn't he? He's
down at that farm again, yeah.
Yeah, down at Clarkson's farm, hanging out with the big dog celebrities. Obviously, gave us the boot. But Ben, great to have you on board, mate, today.
Good to be here. I mean, I'd be here anyway, but
to be
good
fair,
to have you
we've
here.
Come straight in and it's all up and like there's no...
Yeah, this is a quicker setup than Chris's, isn't it? Dare I say?
Quicker than Chris, I reckon.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, Chris has got a new standard now that's been set. So
quicker, we'll see if it's better.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we'll see. Yeah, Chris will probably say that. The camera's rolling.
Yeah, we can't repeat this gold.
So, yeah, let's get into it. Welcome to the RUNcensored podcast with me, Ben Mounsey, and Gary House. Back in Wales again, back in Llandegla, and at Chris's house, as we've said. No Chris today, but today's theme, it's actually based on a question that we had through a few weeks ago on ChatGPT, and it was, can we talk more about kind of current issues, recent stories within trail running, and what better place to start than the Barkley Marathons, which has just happened. I'm going to be honest, Garrett, I didn't really follow it this year.
No. Yeah, like I said, we had a quick chat beforehand what we were going to talk about, because it is a good question, and I get that people want us to be a bit more current sometimes, and we're going to try our best to do that. The nature of our filming schedule sometimes means that's not the case.
We're filming months before ours.
No spoilers, but yeah, sometimes this might go out in a couple of weeks or something, so... but this week we've got the opportunity to stay on top of things a bit more, and the Barkley has recently happened, and it did go under the radar for me this year too, to be honest. I'm in a number of different little WhatsApp groups and my own coaching group that were excited about it, but yeah, we've both been busy this week, haven't we? So when the actual Barkley was going on, I didn't follow it at all, apart from seeing good old Keith Dunn in his Newcastle scarf.
That was a shock. Yeah, who knew he was a Newcastle fan? Obviously celebrating the big win against Liverpool in the final.
Yeah.
Pleased about that, actually. It's nice to see a different team winning.
It was. Yeah, we're going to descend into the football podcast again, but yeah, I don't want to turn into like a bitter blue Everton fan and just they seem to live their life off celebrating when Liverpool lose, but that's how a United fan is at the minute as well.
You got to take those wins, mate.
I look for City's score before United's these days, just in, like, if there's some little bit of pride if they lose.
Does make you feel better about your life, doesn't it, when that happens?
Yeah, but it was a good final, wasn't it?
Yeah, very good, very good. I think the best team won. Yeah,
it was a good final, to be honest. And seeing Keith turn up as he does once a year, I think it is, isn't it? I mean, I don't use Twitter or X as it is now at all, really, unless one, if Instagram goes down, I obviously rush over there to see what's going on. Two, sometimes for football scores because it's quicker, depending where I am. And three, when the Barkley's on, because that's pretty much historically the only way you would get your updates, wasn't it? I know that's changed a bit now.
No, definitely, and I think like people have stayed true to that because they do enjoy the way that he reports back on the Barkley, doesn't he?
I don't know how that all started. I don't know I don't know much about Keith's background. Because I go in and out of it every year, and I love the descriptions that he gives, and it's all cloak and dagger and all that kind of stuff, and it's evolved over the years. I don't know how he started doing it, what his involvement is.
He's become a bit of a celebrity though, hasn't he, on Twitter or X or whatever it's called now?
Me and Ben are obviously clueless on where he's popped up from. So in the YouTube comments or on our Instagram or whatever, let us know, because it's a good character, it seems.
Yeah, he is. He's almost as big a character as Laz, who seems to have stepped back a little bit from it. Laz being the Chris Barnes of American trail running, wacky kind of race organizer who's a bit out there. Very much the personality. I don't know, do you think Barkley's not lost its way a little bit, but are people kind of not as shocked anymore about it? Like, it's fallen off my radar a little bit. Like you said, I'm always up for the spine because I always think nothing really happens around that time of the year, but because it's been a busy start to the year and we're now kind of into March, I didn't realise Barkley was on until I saw a tweet go out saying it started, and I didn't even think about the build-up of it this year.
And I've got a few, like I say, I've got a few friends in the WhatsApp group that have been out there before to do the race, so there's always a little bit of following it via them more than anything, and I've kind of got in my mind's eye, I can see parts of the course just from being out and running with those lads and learning about the course that way. But I think I remember putting this in the WhatsApp group last year. I just thought I made a joke out of it peaking with Jasmine's performance and the way it happened and stuff like this. And in my head, it sounds I'm doing Barkley a massive disservice, but it did peak for me just when that happened, I guess.
I agree.
And that's just through, like you say, the calendar gets busier. And years ago, when it was, I would be more inclined just to sit on Twitter or X for however many days it would go on, because there was nothing much else happening. And it wasn't live streams of other races or this other things to keep an eye on. So
we live in a world now as well where people just want to be entertained, like in the here and now, and it needs to be fresh stuff all the time, doesn't it? And I think it's been done a few years now, Barkley, obviously, hasn't it? And like you said, it really peaked with Jasmine's performance, and I don't think it was ever going to get top this year, so I don't think I got as excited about it.
No,
because of that.
It's always tweaked a little bit, isn't it? And the weather always plays a massive part at Barkley, but when someone completes it or a couple of people complete it, I just knew that it was going to be a lot tougher this year. Laz wasn't going to let that kind of lie, was he? So
they changed the course this year, didn't they? Like the route,
so it will always change a little bit. And again, some people are proper Barkley fans, aren't they? They might correct me, but sometimes it's clockwise versus anti-clockwise in terms of loops and things. How it's done. I think if they're not getting finishes and there's the veterans coming back again and again and again, they get to learn the course a little bit. It's always a little bit different, obviously, because the way Laz does his direction, isn't it? It's like the thoughts of a madman on paper. So, but yeah, you're right. It was definitely been made harder overall this year, and that's, I don't know if you've seen the video of John Kelly finishing his
third loop fun run. Yeah,
that's 3 loops, and he just about finished that. And he gave a few quotes, and he basically said if he was at his fittest and the weather was perfect, and if his nutrition was perfect, if he had the perfect day, he thinks he could finish that course. And obviously that's from a multiple finisher, so it's obviously on the limit of what he can achieve.
Yeah,
he's arguably the best that's done it. So Laz, has he got it right? Is it too hard? Do people care?
Yeah.
Who knows? People definitely care before you come at me in the comments. It's just I don't care as much as I did.
I think what really put that on the map was that Netflix documentary.
Oh, years ago, yeah.
I did see as well last night when I was like looking at kind of Barkley notifications and things that have popped up afterwards. They are making another documentary. I think it's going to be a bit more on Laz as well. I don't know when that's going to be out, but I think there's going to be a premiere in Austria, I believe, maybe this week or next week. So at some point, it'll be available to download. No, but nothing's shown up. This is
you putting it out there.
I was going to ask you to see if we've been invited, see if you got anything through the post.
I'm not. Not in that loop at all, mate. But I think from the start, Laz is almost the story for me. Isn't he? He's the interesting bit.
He really is.
Not just because of his personality, just the way his mind worked with the course, and not just that course, the other races that he's put on.
Yeah.
He seems to get it right in terms of being unique, being challenging, almost that you think was out of reach. But then that's what captures people's attention, whether it's the Transcon or whatever he puts on. There's the Barkley 4 Classics and things like this. It's just, and the looped ones.
I must admit, what really captures my attention with the Barkley, and for those that have never heard about it before,
we should explain.
Yeah, we should probably explain it. It's five laps, isn't it? They call it, and each lap is roughly marathon distance. And when we say it's off road, it's quite savage, isn't it? You're out there in the wilderness. The temperature can swing by sometimes 25, 30 degrees in a matter of almost 24, 48 hours.
Flash floods, and it's a lot. Yeah,
it's just where it is geographically in America. It's prone to kind of just that fluctuation in conditions.
Frozen State Park, is that right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and you're not allowed GPS. You're not allowed your phone. So you're out there in the wilderness, and that plays into people's minds. And it looks a barren place. It looks quite a scary place as well. I mean, the fact that you don't know much about it. It tells you everything, really, doesn't it? That element of surprise going into it, it's something that's never really been done before, I don't think.
No. I mean, there's a forest up there that you will have driven past on the way in. And when I first moved here, when I first started doing a few runs, like the nature of being in the forest, you can get lost easy, can't you, if it's unmarked trail and stuff. So, yeah, when you're on that kind of scale and that kind of terrain and the time of day is changing and then you have to change the way you're doing the loops and all that kind of thing, adding the sleep deprivation. I mean, you just, unless you've been anywhere close to that kind of elevation and terrain, I think it's hard to explain as a race and why it's so difficult.
Yeah.
I think. Like, I've been that Pika race in Andorra, which was probably it was the hardest in terms of elevation I've ever done. And being out at Tours de Géants and watching them and people like James Elson and stuff that have done them both, say like they're the closest in terms of terrain, like gradient wise, that you'll get to Barkley, which gave me okay, so it is serious out there. Yeah, and that's without the brambles and the weather and stuff.
And you also don't know what time it's going to start either. You kind of roughly know it's going to be within, I don't know, is it within a 12-hour kind of period, and then
something
they
like that,
blow a horn, don't they?
Yeah, he blows his horn.
You've got an hour then before the start of the race, which again is the element of surprise. Start from the famous do not block gate. And
he blows his horn. You've got an hour, I think, haven't you?
Yeah, that's right, an hour. Yeah, and I think I might be wrong as well, but each loop, have you got roughly about 13 hours to complete? I'm sure I've read that before.
Yeah, I don't know. I lose track of all the ins and outs. I know that there's people will know now what you basically have to do loop 1 and to have a chance of doing loop 2 and loop 3 and stuff like that. So people know quite early on how far you're going to get into this race.
And I love the fact that 3 laps is a fun run.
3 laps is a fun run, and it's quite, I mean, obviously it's quite prestigious in itself, I think.
The irony of calling it a fun run is...
Yeah, and people's tactics and things. I know some people have been out there in the past, and kind of it's a good tactic to hang on to people that have been there before, I guess, which I think this year was almost taken out of the equation, which made it even tougher, because it sounds like it completely changed.
There's been 20 finishers in the history of the competition. Some of them have done it multiple occasions. Jasmine being the first and only female to have completed the full 5 laps, which will go down in history as one of the greatest ultra running performances of all time, and quite rightly so as well. Is it the hardest race in the world? That's what they pitch it as. It's the race that eats its young. That's what they say. What do you think? I mean, we've never done it, have we? But you've spoken to people that have done it before.
Yeah.
It's people like Elson who know a bit more about the race. What's his take on it, and what are the people's take on it?
I don't know, actually. It's not a question. I've asked him if he thinks that, because I think it's so subjective. I think once you've done some of these races that are genuinely tough or hard,
because it's not
you
the
don't want to
longest
give an
race.
answer.
It's not the longest race, is it? Like you look at the Tour de Glacier now, which is probably the longest ultra race. Am I right in saying that? Almost, would it be the world? Maybe not the world, actually, because we've got the ones that go across. You've got these
America. Ridiculous multi-days and things like this. But at a certain point, is it even a race?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a race, really, is it? You're trying to complete it, yes, but Is it a race?
I don't think the time.
When there's multiple finishes last year,
yeah,
was there a winner? I don't know what the words are used.
I think there was. I think there was the first person back, but I don't think anybody really is judging it on a time. They're judging it on a time frame out there. As in, like, Jasmine did it by less than a minute.
You're not putting, I came third at Barkley, are you? Yeah. You're putting, I finished Barkley on your Instagram.
And it's not like when you do a 10K and you've got a PB. Yeah. You're not putting that time in, are you? It's not like that, is it?
Well, you've got in your Instagram bio, I was third vet 40 Englishman in some race.
Exactly. I did see as well, I know we talked about Keith Dunn being the Newcastle fan, but another interesting fact, apparently the famous Do Not Block Gate sign is being sold and replaced. And they're going to raise some money for an auction for the Barkley Fund, or charity fund, should I say. So that'll be interesting to see what
I bet Miller buys it.
That's going to go for. I bet Miller does buy it. So
he's got a fair few quid in the bank now. So
he's rolling in it. He's balling, isn't he? Miller. He's done well for himself. So friend of the podcast, David Miller, went out and shot Barkley last year. I mean, what an event to go out and shoot, because he obviously got that really famous picture of Jasmine finishing, which, by the way, I got printed and it's up in the sports.
You gave me sent me the t-shirt, and I should have put it on today.
Yeah, he sent us a t-shirt to promote the book.
It's packed, it is. I'm going.
So he's got a book called Do Not Block Gate. It's like I suppose a photo diary of last year's event, some iconic pictures in there. Now, obviously the Jasmine one being the hero image. But so yeah, shout out to David, because that book's doing really well on Amazon, isn't it, as well?
Yeah, it's good to see a book like that doing well as well, because it's
a bit different, a bit out there.
A bit different, obviously a lot of time and effort, and it's good that you can get rewarded for a talent like that, I think. Yeah. And
another nod to David, he's just shot and stayed true to his own style as well, which I like. He's very distinctive in the way that he captures race, action, photography, imagery. It's always kind of dark and moody and very much like BTS style, isn't it? So that book that he's brought out is in that style, and I think it's a really nice way of...
Suits the race, doesn't it?
It does suit the race of, photographing Barkley, definitely. So if you've not seen it yet or heard of it, check it out. Great book. We're lucky enough to have one, and top man David for...
I haven't sent the podcast one yet, though. I know we've got it there.
Yeah, we could put it next to the beer collection, couldn't we? But so So David, get one in the post, mate. Come on, don't be stingy.
I think they're sold out everywhere, haven't they?
He's probably not got any left, has he?
Yeah. It's interesting though, like you say, off the back, I still remember the early days of Barkley and stuff, and it's like there was hardly any information I could find about it, and then the documentary came about, and that gave it a bit of boost in terms of you got a bit of an insight, didn't you?
Yeah.
And but every year it seems more and more comes out media-wise. Definitely last year, I didn't see any of the footage this year, so I can't comment really. Did you see what it was like? Like people on their phones and leaking stuff, or even sponsors being out there? I don't know what it was like this year.
No, do you know what? I haven't, and I think it's only what they allow you to see, if you know what I mean. Like sometimes, like you go to events like UTMB and you've got people all over the course, and you see so much of the route and the athletes, all parts of the race. Whereas Barkley, they've kept it really under lock and key, which I like actually. But when you do,
they have to keep the race what it is.
Yeah, that intrigue.
If you had mystery. Follow cams on all the runners and going up and down,
it wouldn't be the same, would it?
You would lose a lot of interest, I think.
Yeah, it would lose.
Although, it's a fantastic marketing ploy for a race.
And I know we said it's not, losing its way is not the right phrase, really, but like it's kind of not as impactful now on people because they know about it. It's been out for a few years, had the highlight last year, but it has influenced, I would say, a lot of other races. Certainly the way that I plan race events, like we did the Quid Games end of January, and part of that was to not give all the instructions to people until the actual race day, so when they're turning up, they're not quite knowing what to expect. And that was very much like borrowed from that Barkley blueprint where, you're keeping a bit of intrigue and you're not quite divulging the full information because you don't want people to know everything about the race. It's like quite nice to come to an event and experience it for the first time and not just do it through your phone and on the internet.
And how did at the Squid Games, how did the top athletes take to that? Because a lot of the time they want to know exactly all the ins and outs, logistics wise. Did they see it as just a bit of fun, or were they saw it as an extra angle, as part of competitiveness?
Oh, it was really well received, but it's a good question because like Kirsty, my partner, she did run it and she'd entered it, and she kept saying to me, "You need to tell people more about this race." And I said, "No, Kirsty, the whole thing is that you don't know enough about Quid Games. You
Turn up and trust us."
Exactly, turn up and trust us, and you'll find out." And she couldn't get it into her head. Like it freaked her out a little bit.
Because in my head, I'm picturing the odd one that I know and stuff. It's like that's how I imagine a lot of them would be. Like I need to know more.
Yeah, they were asking questions. I got a lot of questions on Instagram, so I let enough detail go so that they kind of had an overview of it, but at the same time kept a lot under lock and key. And I think it made it a better event, if I'm totally honest.
Because it's good, because I think Barkley, I mean, it's a victim of that in a certain way. They won't ever get they probably won't get the top athletes at the top of their game in terms of a Killian or a Jim Walmsley and stuff, just because where it is in the calendar and the amount they'd have to put into it to achieve it.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
Not going to happen,
You'd have
is
to
it?
focus your whole season on it, wouldn't you?
Exactly.
Yeah. I think just going back to that question though as well, what made Quid Games and also obviously Barkley interesting is you can't predict a winner. So if you put a 10K on, for example, on the road and you invited a load of people, like top athletes, you could almost predict like where people would finish. But at Quid Games, I had some mates who were bang average runners. They won't mind me saying that either. They were like beating English fell running champions. And like they'll never get an opportunity to do that unless you make the race a little bit different. So I like the fact that, you know, the rules are different and it kind of rips up the rule book, the traditional rule book as such, and just makes it interesting. Because I think now, going back to that point about, you know, you've got to keep things fresh, you've got to keep new ideas coming in. You've got to do something different to capture people's attention, but keep the sport interesting and make it sexy as well.
Well, trail racing in the UK is getting oversaturated. I've had this conversation with us in the past. I've heard Ken keep talking about James, but he's got a podcast and I heard him speaking about it because at the moment the amount of races are going up, but participation isn't, and if anything, going down. So something has to give. And yeah, you're right. Just putting on a trail race, only the best will survive, but putting on races that are different and unique and with a different selling point, I think that's like, and gamify it to a certain degree, there's definitely a place for that.
But you've just got to move with the times and society and how people respond and consume things, haven't you, in terms of media? And yeah, keep it interesting, stand out, and otherwise things just become a bit boring, don't they? And you've got to move the sport on as well. I mean, it's changed a lot as trail running. Like I think even in the last few years. So the other thing I wanted to talk about today, as well as Barkley, there's been a few interesting news stories recently. Sabrina Stanley, the American ultra runner. It is Sabrina Stanley, isn't it?
I don't know, I've never heard.
I'm pretty sure. Well, you'll have heard of her when I say she signed for OnlyFans.
No, I did see.
So that is a big news story. So
yeah.
I mean, that is crazy. OnlyFans have signed a trail runner as part of their team. And actually, she's not the only sports person. I did a little bit of research on that last night. And
I bet, yeah.
Do you know what? I was actually on my phone last night and I did.
What, black hole did you end
I
up?
almost signed up for the OnlyFans to do research, Gary, honestly. Yeah. And I thought, if Kirsty looks at my phone now.
Is that on the sports shoes expenses? Just Ben's OnlyFans. Why is there 12 subscriptions here?
So, I mean, I don't know too much about OnlyFans, but I do know that there are. Am I right in thinking that? Am I right in thinking? I'm asking the expert now, but am I right in thinking that there's obviously a side of it where it's a little bit raunchy, a little bit sexy? You're paying for like kind of.
Well, I'd hope so if I was paying that subscription.
I mean, when I was younger, I used to be in the Gary Lineker fan club, and he'd send postcards of like his career, and he'd get updates, and he'd get newsletters. Is it like that? I mean, I don't know what.
Should we sign up to a free one now?
Yeah, shall we? Should we sign
free
up?
Trial.
Have you got an OnlyFans?
No. But funny enough, one of my followers on Instagram that I used to interact with come to light, because I've told this story to friends before, come to light that she was a recruiter for OnlyFans in the UK.
Really?
And she was always trying to get people like me to jump on it. Yeah, and you did not necessarily for not going to sit here with doing windmills or something, but I didn't go further than that. She was a recruiter for it, and she would always prod and say, you should get on OnlyFans, basically. Yeah. That's as close as I came to that. But
but genuine question though, is it to get a little bit closer to the athletes, as in like you learn a bit more about them? It's almost like
hopefully
open access, isn't it?
I assume it is with Sabrina, and it's on the face of it, you have a bit of a laugh, but I think it's quite a good thing if you want to do that. But I don't know what material she's putting out on there, is what I know. But I do know when OnlyFans started out, it wasn't meant to be like a load of birds getting their stuff out and then it was meant for that reason, for like gym workouts and stuff like this.
And then it became a little bit raunchy. It's got a stigma attached to it, hasn't it now?
Well, it has now, because it is what it is, and so there's lots of people making mega money out of it, but I mean, I'm not going to go down that line whether it's right or wrong. I'm sure
Adrian Hope keeps asking me to make an OnlyFans account, and I think it's because he wants to like buy used boxer shorts and stuff off me. He keeps sending me bits of kit to like wear, and
is
then
that what these t-shirts are for?
So he gave me some Innovate kit. He just said, can you wear that and send it back and sign it?
He
said, don't wash it as well. I mean, it's each their own, isn't it? Whatever you're into, kind of thing. But he's desperate for an OnlyFans account. But that's how I see it. That's how I perceive OnlyFans.
Yeah, it has got that perception. So whether they're trying to move away from that, or whether she's going to be a bit flirty with it behind the scenes, who knows? Yeah, but at the same time, there's other people have done it. I remember James Haskell had one for a long time. I don't think he still does it. But like the ex-rugby guy, and he would literally just post pictures of him and his top off, or him doing a workout.
Yeah,
and he was making good money per month off just perverts, basically, because let's be honest, there's perverts all over the place on the internet, so they're definitely in trail running.
Interesting move though, isn't it? Sabrina's
definitely interesting move.
She's the first, will she be the last? That's the question.
Do you know what I don't like about it, which is my bugbear? The OnlyFans branding is shite. Like it looks like a GCSE bloody project, doesn't it? That OnlyFans logo and stuff. So, like, I'm all for going with OnlyFans and doing whatever and getting some stuff behind a paywall, but
make it a bit more premium.
Give her some decent kit.
Yeah, exactly. That's true, actually. Yeah. Yeah, she's going to have to race in their kit.
Well, is she still sponsored by Adidas?
Yeah, I'm not sure now. I don't know how that's affected. Work? I'm not sure they'll be too happy about the OnlyFans connection.
Imagine an Adidas OnlyFans collab.
Might take off, you never know. That could be...
Maybe that's why Tom Evans left.
This podcast could go in a totally different direction now. I mean, speaking of Tom Evans, big money moves now in trail running, right? So this is another thing that I wanted to talk about. Like, trail running is changing. There's a lot more money coming into the sport.
Yeah.
Brands now building trail teams, throwing a lot of money at these trail teams. I mean, Tom, without divulging what he's on, because I don't fully know, I've heard rumours, it's a big money contract, and obviously he's moved to ASICS. It's going to be
a six-figure contract.
It's going to be a big contract. But this is the thing now that's happening, and I've seen a few moves recently where people are moving around and about, and it's almost like it's becoming a bit Premiership football, isn't it?
Yeah,
Premier League football.
I think we mentioned it, didn't we? Like it's like the January transfer market at one point, because that's when people's contracts are up and changing, and you notice it more now because, like you say, people are moving. A lot of people would stay with a brand. A lot of people would stay with a brand for the whole of their career if they're a good athlete, wouldn't they? Like, remember when like Solomon and stuff like this? It was rare that you'd be a Solomon athlete and then move. I'm thinking like,
yeah, there's
quite a long time ago.
Magdalena Floria was Salomon. They picked her up last year on a paid contract, athlete contract. She did really well in the Golden Trail series. She's just signed for Scott. And I saw that yesterday, so that's literally just been announced. So again, that's obviously a big money deal. But yeah,
I think some part of it must come down not knowing the ins and outs. A lot of these athletes are being put on shorter contracts to allow that kind of movement to happen as well, which also means like, well, yeah, if they're a lot of these people, if it's their living and they're on a short contract, then move where you need to move.
Yeah,
like if I was a 24-year-old footballer, would I want to be on 20 grand in the Premiership, or would I jump off to UAE? I don't know, is the honest answer.
Yeah,
I do know.
How long before there's a Saudi team and there's a big money moves over there, right?
Yeah, well, I don't know. I think that's a long way off in
Not
running.
quite there yet, is
yeah,
it?
yeah,
No.
don't it? Yeah, there's not
But
much trail running going on.
But I do think wherever, and it's not controversial, this, but wherever there's money in sport, there's drugs. And I think what we'll see.
I wasn't expecting that. Yeah.
What I think we'll see in the next few years is there'll be more drug scandals within trail running, genuinely, because I think people are under pressure to perform at the top end. And I'm not saying that everybody's going to do it, but there's already been some big athletes that have been pulled up. And, go back 10 years ago, you never heard of any trail runners getting done for drugs, like genuinely didn't. But now
there's just no, it's just not governed anywhere near.
No.
They can't control it in, I mean, someone's getting busted every week in road running, aren't they? Elite road running. But will they ever have the funding in trail running to keep control of it? I'm not sure.
No, but I think where you've got money in terms of big contracts, you relying on performances because that's your career, where you've got big prize money, people do whatever they can. Certain people will do whatever they can to
100%, and it won't just be at the very top level either. It's a bit like, amateur cycling and stuff. It's rife in. I mean, it's obviously rife in high rocks. Yeah, not that there's much rules in high rocks. I think the top 3 certain competitions will get tested on the day. It's not going to stop anyone, is it? And
no.
When you know about the sport and body shapes and stuff, you just know, don't you? But when it's happening at amateur level everywhere, of course it's happening at the top level. So you either, hopefully, they get the right investment and they can go after people, I think.
Yeah.
And obviously, we're no experts, but I'd rather see big names busted than it just go under the radar.
Oh, definitely. There's going to have to be more policing involved, isn't there? And I know that there is some at that top level, obviously. And, even when I've been competing in the past, I've seen people get pulled for drug tests, and if you finish in the top 3 or whatever in a big championship, you're going to get tested. But it's not at every championship. It's not every big competition.
You'd have to be a complete fucking donut to get caught in a competition, wouldn't you? Or after a race.
Yeah.
It's just that's not when people are doping. But yeah, you're right. It's when there's big money in the contracts, I don't know where the questions are getting asked because they're not going to be asking them at the sponsorship level, are they?
No, exactly.
They're asking about the results right now.
A lot of big money for influencers as well now, eh?
Yeah, apparently so, mate. Yeah. This, I think it's there's always that argument in the past there's been that argument when all the money should go to the athletes, and I guess I'm thinking road running really, but at first, and then influencers came along in running, and there was I guess a bit of a clash in between. Influencers would get more money than elite athletes to a certain degree, and in a lot of cases, and what's right and what's wrong. But I think there's enough elites now in trail running and road running that kind of get the game enough to bring it up, and they have got to play the game to a certain degree, and some of them do it really well. They've got to show personality, show story and stuff like this, and they're the ones that will get big brand deals.
Yeah,
you've always got the top 1% or 0.5% that will get the big deals because of results, but you've got to be right at the top to get it, to be earning the big cash, haven't you? And not put anything out on social media.
That's true. I think people understand now the social media's got to be part of it if you want a sponsorship deal.
I always think a great example of this, and I know we're off on a tangent here, but like Ailish McColgan, I followed her career from when she was a young age, and she's steeplechasing and stuff like this. She puts herself out there on social media all the time, from when she didn't have the biggest profile to now I'd say she's got one of the biggest profiles runner-wise in the UK. Yeah. Inspirational runner. Like, she's top elite, but I think she's had to work hard at the social media side of things as well, and she didn't shy away from it because she's smaller brands, bigger brands. We've seen her get thrown a load of shit at her when she posts, kind of thing. It's like, so she takes it all, still comes out with the results.
Yeah.
So it's hard work, I think, at that level to have
to balance both,
to have a thick
both.
skin, to have put the effort into the social media side of things, still be hungry to train for the results. a lot, isn't it?
Oh, so there's a lot of pressure on her. I feel like there's a lot of pressure on people to produce content. You know, like it is almost become as important, like you said, as the performances as well. I mean, I love your content as well, but like you probably are always thinking of like ideas of how to create content. Do you feel a bit of pressure? Do you know sometimes?
Yeah, it kind of comes, it swings and rounds. So like when I started coaching and everything, I quickly got onto the fact that if I put stuff out there that I could grow my business, but that was just on a local level, and it wasn't those videos or anything at first. But then it kind of grew, and I posted on Instagram and other stuff and Facebook for a good couple of years before I really took off. And then I did take off within the space of a year, but what I did do is I thought, right, for the next 6 to 12 months, I'm just going to focus on putting content out there, not growing my coaching business, because you couldn't do it all at the same time. So I had a sustainable small coaching business, really, which was good. I was earning good living out of as a coach. But I thought, I'm just going to put content out there for a year and make it good and learn about it and learn about the algorithms and all this kind of stuff. So it was a lot of effort, and I got help with it. And then it paid off. And then you're right, it's like, well, this is working. Now I do need to put content out there. And you do have to put content out there. There's no getting around it if you want to build a business that's online. Yeah.
And do you think what's helped as well? Because I think you've got a really definitive style, and I like that style, and you've stayed true to it. And like, you know, the humor comes across all the time, but it's brilliant. And
it's changed over the years, the style, and I try different styles, and sometimes it works for a bit and then flops, or sometimes people don't get it. But so I'm not scared to change it. But yeah, you're right. As long as it's like an over-exaggerated version of me, I guess. The humor's the same. What I find funny, I write into the videos, and then I put it out there, and it's like,
great, it works.
Obviously, enough people like it that I've made a good business out of it, but I can always, it all born from growing my coaching business. I always think, like, if I'd not fall into the trap, but if I was a runner that didn't have a coaching business, and then I start making content and it catches fire, and then I end up quitting my job and I'm a content creator, which we've touched on in the past, it's like, that to me is pressure now, because then you are reliant on brand deals and YouTube and just creating content consistently. And I've been through big periods where I've just had no inspiration, no energy and stuff like this. So I've had to rely on either bringing old stuff back or just having time out and just kind of posting less. But I can do that because I've got this coaching business. I don't worry, but I just wonder how some of these people, that's their sole income, how it works, because then the pressure, are you less creative and all this kind of stuff? And after a couple of years, are you still working with the same brands, or have you burnt certain bridges? Don't know, is the honest answer. Yeah, it's always interesting. Like I've tried to keep it that, like, I try my best if I'm working with a brand now, and that usually pays off. So I'll kind of over deliver as much as I can, but I always stay kind of true to what I do.
I love a good example of that. We always talk about Chamonix, so we have to get it in. But last year you did the ASICS content, which I love the fact that ASICS brought you in, because it started off very ASICS, and like every video that went out, I felt like a bit more of Gary House was coming out in the content, to the point where that last video and you were just dancing around in the square in Chamonix, and it was brilliant. That was my favourite one.
Videographer, yeah, he was great, because he got it, like he got what I was trying to do through the week, to be honest. And that's the first time I have kind of felt pressure to create content, to be honest, just because obviously I had that injury that we've talked about. Do you want to go to UTMB week and present for ASICS? It's like, that's almost like going straight in at the deep end in terms of my presenting stuff. And I know what I would do if it was me, but this is ASICS. Yeah.
Massive brand, yeah.
And I've spent time with them before, and me and you've been on a trip with them before, so that's probably what they saw, and the advantage of, well, at least we know Gary a little bit. And on that trip in Corsica, I was genuinely like a fan of the sport and the products, and I was interested. So maybe that helped me get that gig, because I just know the sport.
Yeah.
But you're right. Like, I remember getting into Geneva and getting up to Chamonix, and it was like, here's the script for your first video. It's a big, massive script. I've never had a script. So you can see from the first one, it's it's all right, but it's like
We're
here at Chamonix, and I'm here with Asics, and I was just trying to be Asics, I guess, and they were great as well. So quite quickly, after that video, it was like, right, that's great, but tomorrow we want you to be more yourself, and every video did get more yourself. And there's 2 videos that we did that never went out. I don't know where they are, but they're
X-rated, director's cut.
Well, one of them, me and Luke, is like, and literally, I'm like that river that runs through. I'm like, literally, I'm chucking water on myself, and it's fast, that thing, isn't it? Like, it's like hanging onto a branch. Like, mate, if I fall in here, I'm gone.
Oh my God,
it's freezing. I'm like, really we quickly realised, right, get out of there.
Health and safety.
yeah. So I did do a couple of videos that didn't see the light of day, just because of the amount of content they were putting out as well. But really interesting to see behind the scenes, because I'd say, like, for what I do and creating that content, just me dicking about on the phone, then getting a decent camera, then growing a following on Instagram, got me to go and do that gig. Yeah, and I might not get another one. I'll do it again, but like, you can't say otherwise. To me, it was like, you've played in the Champions League final. I did Asics at UTMB.
Oh, it's a massive tick, isn't it?
A little bit, yeah. And I use it now. It's like, you want me to go and do this stuff? Well, I've done this, and I've done this, and I've done this.
Yeah, and the fact that you could bring your personality to that, and it just became
like you say,
more your style.
That last video when I'm dancing around in bars and restaurants in Chamonix and doing, like, we weren't allowed to go in the finishing tunnel. I just said, like, look, just catch this. I'm going to run up and get everyone going doing that stuff, and it was just good fun. Yeah, and if I could do that all day, every day, happy days. Yeah, because he was great, the videographer Luke. Yeah, and the other day we followed the OCC and stuff, so I had slightly different roles. But you're right, I think you can. Sometimes people do influencers and creators a disservice when actually it's
tough job, isn't it?
It's definitely a tough job, but also it's a good job to be involved with.
It is.
If you do it right. There's lots of, like, you'll know them, you deal with them. There's lots of, they might not want to be called influencers, a bit like that video I put out recently, but I don't care if you call me an influencer or coach or whatever. If you're doing those jobs and you're doing them well, happy days.
I don't think there's many people who've got, like, both, like you have, like, athlete and content creator influencer.
Yeah,
you want to.
It's a bit of a niche, just because I've been around so long, and I was a coach first, and then this morphed into this stuff. Whereas I get a lot of people who are on their own story. Like, people, no one cares about my story. It's the info I'm giving in the entertainment.
The way you deliver it, yeah.
Exactly. I think it is a bit different. But we all know people that do this stuff, make a good living out of it, but from my point of view, are really good at it as well. There's some TikTok people that I follow, massive followings, and they're getting massive brand deals. People probably won't know them, that only on Instagram. It's like, they're actually doing it well. It's their own experience. When people stick to their own experience or what they like, that's never falseness, is it?
No, exactly.
So in my view, if you've built that following through genuine authenticity, that's for a reason. It's because people like you.
Somebody like a Philly Bowden is a good example.
Exactly, yeah.
Because she's a top elite athlete, but also she's got her own style like yourself, and she's creating content that, like, all the time, but is really digestible to that audience, isn't it? She's very likable, personally. Exactly,
and it helps. Like, I love her content because the interest for me is she's an elite athlete still putting this stuff out there. Yeah, but at the same time, I think she splits people down the middle as well, kind of thing. Because you always hear that some people might not enjoy it similar to me, but the amount of effort. Because from my point of view, I can see the amount of effort that she's put into, one, career as a runner, two, creating stuff as well. So you should get rewarded for that.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah, you're not just someone who's just wandered off Love Island.
Exactly.
And woken up with 200,000 followers. Yeah. You've got it because you've worked hard in running and the creating side of things.
Yeah, I've far more respect for somebody like her than, say, a celebrity just coming in from being famous to then start telling you how to run and, like, showing the stories. I won't mention any names, but I think we know the kind of person.
And again, if you're a celebrity and you've got a following already, and then you do a challenge, like at the moment, it's Red Nose Day stuff, Comic Relief, and that Jamie Lang guy who's doing it. That, yeah. So obviously it comes up in the feeds. But actually, I'm enjoying following him because he's obviously gone into it so naive, and he's struggling like hell.
Yeah, it didn't look good when I watched it.
No.
I look like the back end of a Trans-Gran Canaria.
Yeah, but he's still doing it.
Yeah, fair play to him.
So good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I always say for every one of those people that actually shows the sport actually how tough it is, he's not someone that's just landed off Love Island doing one of these polished challenges and making it look like he's just having a walk in the park kind of thing. It's actually showing it's, this was tougher than I expected, and it's for a good cause, and he's got the profile to do it.
Yeah.
I just think sometimes it turns into disingenuous stuff when it's like, I've got a massive profile, and like you say, I'm either giving advice about running, which I'm clueless on, or, oh, look, here's my supplement business or my whatever business. It's off the back of this challenge or run. Yeah. Not as enjoyable.
Tell you what was interesting as well this week. I saw Paris Half Marathon. Did you see it? Thomas Voeckler had ran a decent time.
Yeah.
So
And
ex-pro,
yeah.
Tour de France cyclist, 1:13, I think.
Yeah.
And Cav had done the same race. Had you seen that? Mark Cavendish.
So he tipped under 2 hours. Surely that's not the... Surely, has he tried on that?
I don't know. This is the thing. This is why I wanted to mention it, because he just got under 2 hours. Like, say, 1:56, 1:57 off the top of my head.
1:57.
Yeah, and Thomas Voeckler, 1:13, and around the same era. And I mean, they're two different cyclists completely. Cav being a sprinter and Thomas Voeckler being an out-and-out climber. But that is a massive difference. I just expected...
Imagine if you're
Cavendish to
doing...
go
Imagine
faster.
if you're hanging on for a sub-2 half marathon, and you're alongside Mark Cavendish. It'd be surreal.
This guy's an elite athlete. He's arguably the greatest ever British sports person ever, isn't it? Arguably.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, he's been sort of hammered. I think it's unfair that he's been hammered on social media, but
Have they?
But yeah, he's been
not a
hammered on
runner
social
though,
media.
is he?
Yeah, he's not a runner, but people are saying, well, he's an elite athlete. Surely there's that transferable kind of fitness, and you would expect that. I must admit, I looked at the time and thought,
me too. But I don't
quicker.
know any of the context. He might not have ever ran in his life.
True.
Yeah, he might not have ever gone for a run. He might not have trained. He might have ran with a mate. I've no idea. I just saw, like you said, I saw a clip at the time. Yeah, it's like, you expect him to do, just like turn up and run. Like, I know Voeckler's, but on the other side of the spectrum, Voeckler hasn't just turned up and run that off nowhere.
I think he's trained for that.
You must have put some training.
Yeah, it looked like
to run sub 1:15. Like, you can't. Like, I mean,
yeah.
How many people just?
It looked like
no matter what elite sport you've come from, can you just rock up and do that?
He dressed like he looked like he knew what we were doing. He's in like full almost skin suit.
You probably
on.
could to a certain degree if you're. There's a big jump between like a Tour de France cyclist and a sub 1:20 half marathon, but yeah, the honest answer is I don't know. I don't think he's just turned up and done that.
I quite like seeing people trying new things. Another good example, Katie Scheider, who is, again, arguably the greatest female ultra runner at the moment.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say Courtney is, but she's the only person who can really push Courtney. She just came third at the French cross-country national championship.
Yeah, I didn't see that at
good
all.
effort, that.
Yeah.
I mean, that is a full range, isn't it? To be able to turn up and do, UTMB, win it in the time that she's done. I mean, she is the female record holder at the moment, isn't she?
Yeah.
And then to switch and do the cross-country championship. I mean, to be fair, Tom Evans, he's got a range. Killian, he's got a range. But there's not many people who've got that range, is there?
I guess it depends what you hear about, though, isn't it? Yeah, like doing a cross-country season. I assume she might have done a cross-country season, maybe, or a short one. I don't even know where she's based, if I'm honest. But typically, that would be the way about good training.
Yeah. Oh, I've no doubt she's done
Kind
it
of
for
thing.
that.
So,
I think
like,
she's French Pyrenees.
yeah. So if she's done a series of races, she's maybe done it before and it's gone on the radar, and maybe this time it's picked up. But
I suppose it shows as well. We've talked about this on previous episodes. If you're wanting to be a really good ultra runner, you can't just neglect the short, fast stuff as well, can you?
You've seen it. We've all seen it. The times are getting so. They're just getting pushed on with men's and women's all the time. Yeah. So, gone are the days where you could be remember like the the original American ultra runners that just seem to run 150 hours of slow running in the hills.
That's it.
I guess that is one way of doing it. Yeah, but you've got to have speed now.
You've got to have range.
And like you say, the best runners do seem to have range. Is it range or is it just good training that we've always known? And it's just ultra running is catching up now. Yeah, because like road running, the majority of road runners in the UK would do a cross country season, wouldn't they?
Oh, they would. Yeah. No,
or an indoor track season or whatever, depending on what they're doing. So yeah, maybe it is just good training and it's ultra running is catching up because you don't need to do 200-mile weeks in the mountains if you want to be a mountain runner.
That's true. I know it's not a road running podcast, but I did see Jimmy Gressier, French elite athlete. He broke the European 5K record. Did you see that?
No, I didn't see
He went under 13 minutes, 12:57. So
no, I did see it.
Yeah, that is pretty phenomenal.
Now you say it, yeah.
How much of a difference do you reckon super shoes make? And I'm not saying that as a reason why I went under, but the reason I ask, right, I tried a pair of Saucony and Dolphin Elite 2 this week. Oh my God, what a shoe. And I'm not somebody who wears like super shoes for the road, but I got a pair and I tried them out on a lunchtime run in Chipley on the canal. Honestly, felt like I was cruising. I'm not joking. It was
you are cruising
noticeable. Like I felt like I wanted to go and run fast just by when I started moving in them. But I really felt like that would knock minutes off times.
Well, it's the economy and the efficiency side of things, isn't it? That's why you feel like it's easy. You feel like obviously that adds up to speed at the end of the day.
Unbelievable. The feeling, like it was so cushioned, but so propulsive. And I think because I've come in at quite a late stage, I mean, I've tried the super shoes for the trails, like the Vective Pros, but I think when you're on that, like a trail uneven surface, you're never going to get that full like speeding.
It just works in a completely different way.
Exactly. And we talked about that on previous episode, didn't we, as well? But my God, like what a feeling. I think just to come from somebody who in the past has run 10Ks, 5Ks, marathons in bog standard shoes, I've got a whole new appreciation for those people who ran those records like years ago. I've got a lad at work, Matt Pearson. He ran, I think, he's got a really good marathon time, like 2:22, let's say. I think it might be. He'll correct me, I'm sure, if it's wrong. Might even be 2:20. Forgive me, Matt, because I know that I should know this. But I reckon...
You're assuming he's going to listen to this.
Yeah, I'm testing him now. I'm not going to tell him I mention him. But I reckon if he'd have had a pair of super shoes on back then, like, he could have done some serious damage. Like,
you're talking... You only look at how the records have shifted, and yeah, we've already touched on drugs and things, but shoes have played a massive role because that's just how it was. Like the Nike 4% were called 4% for a reason, and usually those claims are kind of looked at and gone, oh yeah, whatever, they're called 4%, but they backed up with the papers, and then they got backed up with the results, and then it's only so you can assume that we're talking now. The Nike 5%, 6%, I don't know. And I know it's an average, but if it's an average, some people are getting 8%, some people are getting 4%, some people are getting 1%. So that's the problem for me. It's all over the place.
Yeah.
In terms of, again, we don't want to get too deep into it maybe, but the responders and non-responders and stuff, you put 10 different people in the same pair of Nikes on the start line, they're all getting different advantages.
Yeah, that's true.
Which is that you don't get that in the trail running world.
I'll tell you what you do get though in trail running, and I think the comparison is not in shoes actually with this. I think it's with running poles. Again, we talked about running poles, haven't we? But I've got friends who are really against using poles for certain records. You know, like, and I'll give you a classic example. Bob Graham. So Billy Bland famously had the record for it for so many years, and he obviously didn't use poles. He just went probably after work knowing Billy. I don't know when exactly this, you know, how he built up to doing the Bob Graham, knowing him and how he used to run. He probably just did it on a weekend and thought, I'm gonna have a go at it. Obviously without poles, but then people have come in and used poles, you know, Killian famously, and Jack Quenzel, who's now got the record. But that is a massive advantage, and some people are saying, should there be two separate records? I mean, should there be two separate records for that? Should there be two separate records for super shoes versus, like, where do you draw a line in the sand?
Oh, they're two different The super shoe thing, that ship sailed, isn't it?
I think so.
Because they can't. I know they limited it with
can't
the
put a line
stack.
in the sand, can you? Yeah.
With the stack height, because a lot of it is the foams and everything, and obviously the higher the stack, the better angle of the carbon and stuff. So they're limited to a point now, but in terms of can't have one record and
yeah. There's no
I
way.
always joke on my Instagram stories when people ask me. People forget that I ran, I think, at one point, but like watching marathon PB, and I always put like 2:44 BC, and then like because that's before carbon. Because I never ran a marathon in carbon shoes, which is what I'd love to get back to one day. Still have that conversation with some of my friends, and because it's worth minutes.
Yeah.
5 minutes,
I mean,
3, 4, 5, 6, I don't know, but it's definitely worth minutes.
You're right, that ship has sailed now, but I just look back and think, I mean, Jimmy Gressier, fair play, massive
with the
respect.
pulse thing, though, just pick up on that. It's like, again, where do you draw the line with that? Because I kind of agree to a point. I think it's weird, isn't it? You have these, it's a bit like cycling. You have weird unwritten rules. And then in running, like Bob Graham, it's like it's its own institution. Maybe it's if they'd have said quite early on, like, poles don't count to the record, I'd have been happy with that. Yeah. But records have been set with poles, so you're screwed now. That's it. And where do you draw the line? It's like that. It's like a bloody. It's marked in terms of the trods and everything now, essentially, isn't it? It wasn't. It wasn't years ago. So where do you draw the line with that? Is it like, oh well, when these lines come in and GPS, what you have on your feet, nutrition? Where do you draw the line? People with massive entourages now. Not just your people witnessing the summits. It's like
it's a sum of marginal gains, and you've mentioned 7 things there that all shave time. And I know you've got to move the dial, you've got to move things on, haven't you? But then you just look back and think,
I think
like, Billy Bland did that time. Like, what could he have done with a focus on like those shoes, the poles?
You'd love to see. Yeah, we're in that age group, I think.
Yeah.
Like early 40s male that will talk about this till the cows come home, because you could pick any sport and it's like whether it's tennis and the old wooden rackets versus X, Y, and Z, and it's just you just have to come to terms with you've got to enjoy it. You've got to enjoy both.
You've got to embrace
the different
both.
sports.
Yeah.
I watched some rugby union from even 10 years ago, 15 years ago. It's a different sport. Watching when Wales were at their peak and stuff. Different sport.
Yeah, things have got to move
different
on.
Different animals now and stuff. It just does move on.
And I'm very much of the opinion with fell racing, because now you're not allowed to work off a GPS if you are doing an English Championship fell race, for example. In fact, pretty much any fell race that's on the calendar, it's deemed as cheating. Like you can't, and also you can't rely on that solely, because some people do. Myself, most of the time included. In the past, you've got to be able to use a map and a compass, and it's an unfair advantage to if you're using it and somebody else isn't. So they've actually said you can't use them now in champs races, for example. But I'm of the opinion myself that we should embrace that technology. I think although they're saying there's a safety risk because people rely on it too much, I also think it can get you out of the hole.
How many? It's been a while since I've been to a fell race, but how many people would you stand on the start line of a fell race? Say they competently know how to take a bearing and use a map and stuff.
Interesting, wasn't it?
Yeah. So arguably, what is having your GPX might be more
beneficial
is what I'm saying. For safety.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. I think it is,
and I might get shot down for that, but
I mean, it will divide opinion. I mean, this episode, honestly,
in reality, you would want everyone on that start line competent with a map and compass.
You would, yeah, definitely. And you can't. I don't think you can really police the GPS thing anyway. I mean, God, how can you do it? You just got to trust people.
You got to trust, and that's fine too. But like in Scotland, the majority of the sanctioned races there by on Scotland or whatever, you're not allowed to use poles in trail races, like Highland Fling and stuff.
Yeah. You're
not allowed, so it's not a question. Because sometimes I'll always get like, what about that race? You can't use it. Well, it's just the rules. The rules are the rules. Doesn't matter what the rule is. You can't use them, so it's not a question.
I'm not sure it's a thing in fell running that you can't use them, but nobody does use them. Like, I think it's an unwritten rule. Like I said before in a previous episode, if I turned
that would make a good video, mate.
It would make a video.
Do one of the Fell Classics in the summer, and there's just you ploughing up the side of everyone.
If I turned up with some poles, Rob Jebb would wrap one of those around me, or he'd stick it up my arse. Honestly, he would not be happy. He'd stab me to death with it. Like if I turned up at Edale this weekend for the English Champs.
Surprised no one's done that though.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything in the rules that says you can't use them. I've not seen it. I might be wrong. So I might be wrong. But
I'm surprised some young kind of person that's doesn't.
It's just, I think, an unwritten rule. I've not seen anything to say you can't. But then at the same time, I wouldn't dream of it. Even though it would be a massive advantage, especially on the long.
There's a question for everyone out there. Are you going to be the first person to run one of the classics fell race in the lakes with poles?
I can tell you now it's not going to be me.
Ben Mountie's just committed to it.
Absolutely no chance. Absolutely no chance.
You still won't win.
Absolutely, unless I stab people in front of me with it.
Yeah.
Definitely won't win. But no, I mean that whole pole debate is a big one in fell running. And Math Roberts, who's not too far down the road in Snowdonia, he's the one who adamantly thinks that any of these big challenges, Paddy Buckley is the one that he has in mind because he used to have the record for it.
Yeah.
But he thinks it should be two separate records. And I totally agree with him in that respect. Like, I do think it makes such a big difference on those types of challenges. That
there is, but you could argue all day. Like, Math Roberts will know that course.
True.
Like, unlike anyone else. And I know that's part of the challenge, but is poles part of the challenge? I'm just putting it out there because I tend to agree. I would a bit like the supported, unsupported, self-supported. Why can't there be polls, no polls?
Yeah.
At some point, don't clip that because we'll get cancelled.
At some point, he'd be a good person to get on the podcast. I'll get Math on. I mean, it'll be very controversial, but I think it'd be worth it. I mean, this episode for me was all about looking at some of the recent. I can't remember
what the theme was, mate.
I did know what it was. I did have an idea of where it would go, but it was looking at recent things that have happened in trail running. But also, I wanted to just talk a bit about how things are shifting and how things are changing. And I think there's a few key things that have happened recently, like the OnlyFans sponsorship, like Barkley as a model for organising races, and like some of the
sponsors.
I think things are changing quite rapidly, and I think it was just a nice time to talk about some of these things because there were some people listening to this thinking, I've got a real strong opinion on that, or I didn't know about that. And I think it's an interesting thing that we've touched on today. So if you've got anything that you're thinking about, like that we've not covered, that we should cover, that we could talk about, let us know. Let us know in the comments. Send us an email. I'd tell you the address, but I can't remember.
info@RUNcensored.com.
Yeah, almost there with it. Perfect.
One of us might log into it one day.
If you've sent a message there and we've not replied, send us a message on Instagram.
Yeah, I'll check.
Yeah, Gary will check. But no, and thanks for those people that have commented as well on the YouTube video that we've put out there for the episodes and on our Instagrams as well. We appreciate it. As always, please like and subscribe. Keep the comments coming. We welcome the positive comments, but also if there's something you'd like us to talk about, something you'd like us to do, let us know, guys. That's what we're here for. We could do with some ideas for some future episodes as well, couldn't we?
Yeah, because your content's running dry. So
and also we've gone through all my friends now, haven't we? So
yeah, I'm getting further and further down the friends list. So.
Yeah, that's it exactly. We're always looking for new and exciting guests with good personalities we think would be great on the podcast. So yeah, Math is definitely a name on our list.
Sabrina.
Yes, good one. Sabrina Stanley.
Fans, yeah.
Yeah, let's get out to America doing a away day with her. Yeah.
Come here now. She's earning that big cash.
She could, couldn't she? Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe OnlyFans could sponsor the pod.
Yeah, OnlyFans. All right.
And without further ado, guys, we'll see you next Tuesday. I think we did quite well there because we had no idea what we were fucking talking about. No, we did. We had a rough idea. That was not scripted.
It was good.
I think it's nice to go in a different direction.
Yeah, I thought. Yeah.
It had a really nice flow to it, and I think we did everything.
You did a good job of remembering what we were going to talk about because once we started talking,
you see, sometimes when you go off on a tangent, I mean, me and you, it's hard to bring it back or link it to the next thing.
Don't have to, do we? If we don't, if we miss something off the list, we do.
No, it's good.
Yeah.
Happy with that. No, it'll be. I mean, the next one.
I know when it's about an hour because I always need a piss.
Classic.